Hello class. Hopefully you all have your information packets with you about our assignment, our infectious disease newsletter. Let's review the instructions together. First, you're going to need to research an infectious disease. And not just any infectious disease. This needs to be one that's had a significant impact on society. Maybe your disease caused a plague that killed a lot of people. Or maybe your disease led to a major scientific discovery. Once you have done your research, you're going to use that research to create a newsletter. And you can do this using either MS Publisher or MS Word. Now your newsletter needs to include the following details. Anything that is in bold and underlined should be a heading within your newsletter. First, your newsletter should be 2 to 3 pages in length. This will ensure that you have just the right amount of graphics and text. The first heading you should have is your title and subtitle. The title is the name of your disease, and the subtitle is maybe a nickname or a quote about the disease. As you can see in my newsletter, the title of my newsletter is Ebola, and I chose a quote for my subtitle, and this quote was by the gentleman who discovered Ebola. The next section should be what I like to call a moment in history. Now you don't have to name that heading a moment in history, but that just gives you a kind of an idea of what this section should be, which is it's where you describe the impact on society that your disease had. You can see my heading is titled 2014-2016 West African Ebola Outbreak. Next, you should have sections with background information about the disease, and this would include what type of pathogen causes it and the mortality rate of the disease, and then also the transmission of the disease, which is how the disease is spread. Next, you should have sections describing the symptoms, the treatment, and prevention of the disease. Prevention could be any measures such as hygiene, sanitation, or especially vaccines that are used to prevent this disease. Now let's take a look at the newsletter that I've provided and talk about pictures for your newsletter. Now you need to have at least 3 pictures, and these pictures cannot be just any old pictures. They need to be relevant, especially to the section headings where they're placed. If you look at my newsletter, you'll see that in the title bar, I have a picture of the Ebola virus as it appears through an electron microscope. And under the West African Ebola outbreak, there's a picture of a map that depicts the countries within West Africa where this outbreak took place. On page 2, you'll see a picture of a man holding a fruit bat. That picture was selected because the fruit bat is the natural reservoir for the virus. Under symptoms, you will see a graphic showing the progression of symptoms. And finally, in prevention, you will see a gentleman wearing personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment is the primary mode of prevention. Finally, please make sure to review the rubric included in your packet and notice that your due date, all electronic submissions, are due by November 27th. I really look forward to seeing these and sharing these with the class so that we can learn about all these different fascinating infectious diseases. Good luck!